There's few things I love more than the feeling of being utterly floored by an absolutely absurd opinion. But when I sit and ponder on it for a bit, it actually makes sense. The true art of the hot take. So buckle up, it's time to look over your One Piece hot takes. Now let's start things off a little crazy, eh? Blackbeard beats all 5 elders at the same time. Wow, but hold on a second, hear him out. I know Gandhi is looking like an absolute world beater in the anime right now, but before you completely disregard Marshall D. Teach, remember, a Luffy with no means to fight the elders was still out here handling them for moments. We saw Dory and Broggy using these big bodies as boxing gloves. But Clinch, Blackbeard doesn't have an ability to hurt the Gorosei. He doesn't even have conquerors. Well, buddy, obviously he's gonna get ACOG eventually, if you don't think that. See, that's just ridiculous cope, but he has an even more effective power to do some major damage. The Yami Yami no Mi, the ability to remove powers via darkness. The fruit that Rox D. Zebek was looking for. I'm putting my life on that. I'm staking my claim. Rox D. Zebek was looking for the Yami Yami no Mi. And I'll be honest, all these dudes are bums and are such regen merchants. Give me some regen Imusama. This is base Galdino victims we're up against. If Blackbeard genuinely just sucks up their busted powers, you know things could start working out for him. I do think that if Blackbeard starts running a grappler gimmick, you know, suck him up and then smack him down with a Gura fist, he can start doing some serious damage, especially since that would technically be durability negation. Plus, despite the amount I dog on his durability, he took the exact same hit that Big Mom took almost tenfold if you think about it. Shock Vila is a Dura neg attack, and simply put, because of Blackbeard's smaller proportions, that's the first time anyone's ever said that, and physique, he would have taken more internal damage. The belly fat, the adipose tissue, it wasn't protecting him that day. So that's pretty damn impressive, at least to me. So we know he has the means to hurt them, and the Gorosei are just so hittable and slow that I think Blackbeard could win. It's not the moment. Maybe 2 arcs down the line he could handle the elders, and obviously endgame final boss Blackbeard's packing them up and doing dishonorable things to them. Obviously this is an insane take now because we've seen Buddy sweat buckets versus Old Rayleigh. S-Hawk was putting the pressure on Buddy for a bit. I mean, this crew nearly lost to Crew V1 versus Kuzan. Although this may seem like a crazy take, come 50 to 60 chapter down the line, Teach is gonna brutally pwn the Gorosei. So I'm gonna rate this a mid-agree. Mihawk is top 1 in the first. Whew, buddy, this is a fun one. Cue the Mihawk music. Now, here's the thing about Mihawk. He is stated to be the world's strongest swordsman, the strongest swordsman of the current era. And as much as I like doing the whole speech of how Oda has to prove to us, the viewer, that this guy is truly the strongest sword user, I'm going to use a different path this time. So you know, if Mihawk vs Zoro happens, and Mihawk is less impressive than Shanks or Gandhi, are you, the One Piece fan, going to legitimately believe that Zoro accomplished his dream of surpassing every single other swordsman and being crowned the world's strongest? No, that would be ridiculous. If you see Shanks do something better, but you still call Zoro the world's strongest swordsman, that makes no sense. Could you imagine how unsatisfying of an ending that would be for Zoro's character, the deuteragonist, the second most important character to One Piece itself? And do you think he's gonna get that unsatisfactory of an ending? No, buddy. Plus, I mean, given what we know, I just don't think that Shanks is a hockey man. I think it is a little silly just using your peepers. Who does Shanks fight more like? Garp? An actual honest-to-goodness hockey man? Or Mihawk? It's obviously Mihawk, unless this guy whips out a cocky arm. Autocorrect is really boning me. Unless Shanks whips out a hockey arm, I'm gonna stand on that. It's just like, Mihawk, to make Zoro a stronger swordsman, Mihawk taught him hockey. He didn't teach him, bro, just don't use reverse grip, bro. You gotta hold the sword like this, and you gotta angle your shoulder like this. No, he taught him hockey. I'm gonna stand on that. Though, I just don't think that Mihawk is the actual strongest in the verse. Top 5 definitely, but I just don't see how you could have him above Emu. If you want an actual video of me going through my top 30 though, so let me know. Anyway, if we are ranking this, I gotta put it at a no agree. Now, I got this one quite often, so without further ado, Kaido trash AF peace sign emoji. Not a hot take, but Kaido is a massive fraud. All his statements hyping him up are rumors, and he loses to Luffy, who almost died right before getting Gear 5. And then we have an opposing one. People in the community really underrate Kaido. Sorry, I don't think I can read this one. Let me translate it. Kizaru beats Kaido. Okay, thanks Google. I was worried for a second. Mr. Rumor Man himself, even reminiscing about spreading rumors with King while spiraling to his death. And as much as I hate Kaido, I mean, this dude is a duck, but he really took a swim in lava just so he wouldn't have to fight Goat Bull. No, but genuinely, I think Kaido is a tricky guy to figure out. We don't know for sure if holding the island up actually nerfed him. Personally, I don't think it's made explicit enough by Oda that it is the case. I mean, this dude was planning on going blackout drunk that night. If holding the island was really that taxing, I don't think he would have done it. And as I said before, his gauntlet wasn't like leaps and bounds and leagues above Mugiwara's. So what do I think? Is Kaido actually a fraud? Narratively, 100%. As a character, 10,000%. IQ wise, this guy has next level BJ Penn CTE. That's all I'm gonna say. Well, billion%. But most importantly, strength-wise, 50%, I'm split. When you think about it, the strongest creature line is Fax. I mean, out of all the non-human characters, he is the strongest. I would put him above Zunisha. I think he would destroy his ankles. But is that like some crazy feat? Not really. Then we look at the land, sea, or air. Always bet on Kaido. And I'll be honest, I'm just never betting my bottom dollar on Kaido. Call it a principle, but I just don't trust him against the Mihawks, Akainus, and Shankses of the world. Now for the Kizaru vs Kaido debate. A debate that will always be present in the community. Now I will start off by saying we still technically don't know Big Boss's ceiling. Now for an actual one-on-one fight though. An alcoholic versus a pothead, a classic. I've got to give speed to Kizaru, obviously, though they are certainly relative. Then AP, it's tricky. We don't even have a true, like, all-out named attack from Kizaru, but I just gotta go with Flame, Dragon, Torch, Rising Dragon, Flame, Bagua, brother. What a mouthful, holy. Then all of durability, endurance, strength, and hockey. Yes, hockey goes to Kaido. We know Kaido has advanced conquerors, advanced observation, and advanced armament, while Kizaru only has confirmed advanced armament, but though I do definitely think he has advanced observation. Then with IQ and strategy, I'll give that to Kizaru. So I think this is going to be an extreme diff either way, where one guy is winning like 60% of the time, but as much as I prefer Boars as a character with this matchup in particular, I think it slightly favors Kaido. So I'm going to give this one a mid-agree. Now, if you're looking for something to have an extreme agree with, as you like in the video, pretty please, it'd be super swag. And if you are enjoying the content, how about you subscribe too, so you can enjoy more of the content. Doflamingo is stronger than Queen. Now, as much as I want this one to be true, and buddy, do I want one of the best written, swaggest designed, and coldest characters in One Piece to be over the fat, dancing slob blob. But it just isn't true. I hype up Doflamingo quite a bit. I mean, the birdcage is genuinely one of the strongest attacks in the series. This guy has conquerors and is one of the few characters that has actually awakened his devil fruit. But this guy just got way too high on his own supply, way too complicit. Doflamingo has so much potential strength-wise, but he's never really lived up to it, did he? I mainly have the commanders over Dofi. Aside from bounty scaling, we know that Dofi had nothing besides survival against Gear 4. The only thing that he could do was pray that Luffy gassed. We know that Dofi was not even able to box with Luffy. He was getting smacked around with Rhino Schneider. Dofi couldn't box if he worked in an egg boxing factory. Whew. Then we look at someone like Cracker, was able to get past Gear 4's armament hardening, which Dofi couldn't, and despite Queen looking like an absolute clown, I think the community just genuinely agrees Queen over Cracker. Though I will admit, there are certainly win cons for Dofi, a little birdcage plus a stall and brawl is possible, though unfortunately, I just don't see him getting past like a 10% chance. Now this one's a little white girl wild, buddy, a little crazy. Shanks, Mihawk, and Dragon can each beat all 3 admirals plus Akainu at once. Now I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt here, and if you're saying that either Mihawk, Shanks, and Dragon can solo dolo all 3 admirals plus the fleet admiral, we're going to have to throw you in the loony bin, buddy, put you in the cuckoo's nest. Genuinely though, if you are talking a true 4v3, things start to look a little different. It is more likely to be a 3v3. We know Green Bull is getting a whiff of that wireless hockey. See in Mihawk's real black blade, not this nonsense fraudulent fan coloring propaganda. This guy's turning tail faster than you can say the words Aramaki. No, but genuinely, if we are to sit and think about it, if we assume, as we should, that Dragon is somewhere in the top 5, this is just 3 top 5 guys versus top 5 guy and 3 top 15ers, which is just really hard to judge, especially since the admirals likely have some pretty good synergy disregarding Fujitora. Here's the thing about this fight, is that if Fujitora actually shows up locked in full green bull, don't assume you have human rights, I would lean to the admirals simply on the numbers advantage and nothing else. But if Fujitora is showing up in character, wavering, not quite sure that he would even want to stop these guys. I do think that Shanks would beat a Kaido. Mihawk can very clearly handle Kizaru, and Dragon can most likely beat Green Bull, but when you throw in a support fighter, it just changes significantly. So for that reason, I'm going to give this matchup a low degree. Roger in the Herald flashback is not at his strongest. Roger was at his best just before he caught that incurable disease. Basically, I'm saying this to justify saying that Roger slams Zebek. Now to me, it's just not true that any Pirate King tier character is going to slam one another. It's going to be an extreme diff fight no matter which way it goes. So do I agree that Roger is not in his prime in God Valley? Now, it's probably for the stupidest reason, but Oda, why doesn't this dude have a mustache? You can't be telling me this isn't for a reason, buddy. Yes, we are facial hair scaling, but dude, it is weird that one of the most defining traits is just missing. Like, bro, his Jolly Roger has a mustache. I don't know if he just had masculinity envy from Whitebeard, but that is just a weird detail. Now, personally, I don't think Roger's going to beat Rox in a 1v1. I subscribe to the idea that Rox is getting Dami reversed. It just feels weird for that to be the last thing we see of the current timeline is Imu Dami mommying everyone, and that just not to be relevant in the flashback. Plus, I don't see a satisfactory way for Garp and Roger to team up and fight Rox without assassinating one of their characters, at least at the moment. Though, saying Roger's going to usurp Rox's Garp upscale, so gotta agree. Nah, but seriously, we are gonna give this one a partial agree. I agree with half of it, just not the second half. Now, the next guy actually gave me some real scorching hot takes to chew on, so shout it to this buddy. Rox over all 5 admirals at once. Elbaf Zoro over Kizaru. Green Bull gets one shot by Shanks, Kaido, Luffy. War Curie and Nosturo is almost Pirate King level and mid to high diff Luffy. Now, for one, there's just literally no way. My take is that he could probably high diff Fujitora and Green Bull at the same time, but even that is low-key crazy. No Admiral tier characters getting one shot till we see the end of the series characters, at least in my opinion. Then Elbaf Zoro over Kizaru, we really have no evidence for either argument here. I just don't think it's likely. It's possible that at the end of Elbaf Zoro is once he masters King of Hell and unlocks some new transformation. Who knows, maybe he does get Super Saiyan 3 after all this, but not now. Then if War Curie and Nosturo are both Pirate King level, I don't subscribe to that. Zebek, Roger, and 3 other Yonko tier characters were on Egghead. They would have, without a doubt in my mind, been able to stop the Straw Hats and, handle Dory and Broggy, but I could see them beating Luffy simply because at the time he doesn't know how to win, so that's technically possible. Now this one feels low-key a little pointed and is definitely something I might expand on in a later video, although the topic's been done to death at this point. Garp is a fraud and Rox is a real hero. Now, Zebek being a real hero is a little confusing. Personally, I wouldn't say saving your family makes you heroic, I would say that makes you a good dad. But if you think that's a hero, it's whatever, I'm not going to argue with that, that's not the fun part. But Garp is not a fraud, buddy, and I'll be taking none of this. This guy has 2 goals in life: save as many people as possible, change the Marines. Garp's life had turned out ideal. Ace, Luffy, and Sabo would be admirals, his son Dragon being fleet admiral, and his sword proteges being the vice admirals. The perfect position. Make a true permanent change in the Marines. So, fortunately, life isn't perfect. Garp is left with what actually happened and trying to make the best out of that situation. Because at the end of the day, what does leaving the Marines really accomplish if you think about it? You have one good pirate out there without the means to influence the Marines anymore. I thought that's why we like Dragon. He's doing what he can do to change the world government. But unfortunately, Garp isn't intelligent like Dragon, nor is he the prodigal son like Luffy. In the real world, or I guess not real, but in the One Piece world, he would have truly less freedom to change the Marines and the world government. So what did he do? He focused his attention on the internal aspect of the Marines, laying down the foundation for permanent change. He hates the Celestial Dragon, so what do you think he means by saying Koby is the future of the Marines? He's saying that he is Garp's future. In his mind, Koby is the ideal Marine. He means an end to the oppressive system, a future where the Marines are no longer under the dirty control of the world government. Then in regards to Luffy, Sabo, and Ace as their father figure, he was one of the largest influence on their morality. Garp and Dodon raised 2 of the most morally bright characters in the series, and Ace, who is at the bare minimum not like Vasco shot, so fair enough. I want to rewind you to the first arc of the series where we learn that it's not black and white. Captain Morgan is an evil marine, but that doesn't mean all marines are evil, does it? That's why Oda having the first character Luffy meets in present time being Koby is so important, to show that this truly is not a black and white world. How are you going to call One Piece a deep and introspective show but think Luffy is morally good and all marines are morally bad? It's just so unbelievably surface level. We still don't even know why Garp hates pirates so badly. He joined the marines solely to protect the innocent and apprehend bad people. That's why Garp and Roger's relationship is special. Garp showed Roger that there are pirates out there that he could respect, which is the reason that he took Ace in. Is Garp a perfect character? No. But are there really any perfect characters in One Piece? Not really. Every character has their flaws, as is seen in Marineford, where Garp is left with the hardest decision we have ever seen in the series. Family versus moral foundations. And did he make the right decision? No. These are actually complicated characters in actually complicated worlds. I'm not here to argue that Garp is a perfect goody two-shoes, just is that he's not an evil character. Now, serious section aside, let's go over my final scorching hot take. Current, and I'm stressing current. Current Koby beats Doflamingo. I know you can say reactionary piece all you want, but trust me on this. When I say current, I'm not talking about a pirate island. I'm saying that a post-hockey bloom, island buff, Koby, plus dude, he's the most motivated he's ever been in his life. Guys, training the battleship boxing bags like an absolute demon. He feels responsible for Garp's capture because of his weakness. He understands that he wants to be the one to stop Luffy a Yonko. So he's not just going to train 100 times more. He's going to train 1,000,000,000 times more. And Honesty Impact is low-key so downplayed. It is not a Dressrosa level feat. The Shima Shima no Mi is a straight upgrade over the Ishi Ishi no Mi. I think it's safe to say that an island is over a stone, right? And if you do actually look at Pizarro's size compared to an island like Thriller Bark, it really puts into perspective how large this dude is. Plus, it's not like Doflamingo is Gear 4 level. He was clearly closer to base Luffy than he was Bounce Man. Only reason that it wasn't a shutout was because Luffy gassed. So for that reason, I honestly do think that a current Koby would beat a Doflamingo. So yeah, those are some hot takes for y'all. Let me know yours in the comments so we can make another video. And I hope to see you for another video on another Friday. See ya.